Stephanos, this is Prime News. All right, we are just getting word now from Northern California where Sandra Cantu's suspected killer, Melissa Huckabee, just appeared in court. No plea entered today. Both prosecutors and defense want to seal little Sandra's autopsy and toxicology reports. Even the judge agreed, saying the evidence could outrage the public. The danger's so great it could cause Sandra's family even more pain. Joining me now to talk about this, Don Clark, former FBI special agent in charge. Also with us, criminal profiler Pat Brown, and joining us by phone, Jennifer Wadsworth, reporter from the Tracy Press. Jennifer's been doing a great job since day one on this. And Jennifer, let's start with you. You were in the courtroom. This is her second court appearance. First time she was emotional. What was Melissa Huckabee like today?
Today she was the complete opposite. Today she didn't shed a tear. She was very calm, just looking around at her surroundings. She even smiled a couple times at her public defender. It was very much the opposite of how it was the first time.
Okay, Pat Brown, what do you make of that? So we saw the emotion and the tears round one, here described as calm, even smiling at attorneys a couple of times.
Mike, we tend to see that with a psychopathic personality, that they will change the game according to whatever is going to work. So at that point in time, she was probably shocked that she had been brought in. She's crying, feeling sorry for herself, and wanting people to feel sorry for her. Now she knows it's kind of a done deal as far as that goes. So now she's going for the next thing, which is to get along with people and be smiling, manipulate them in a different way. So we'll see that change as time goes on.
Gotcha. Jennifer, let's, since we don't have video in the courtroom, take us there. Sandra's family, were they in the courtroom?
They were. Her mother wasn't there, and her father wasn't there because he had to go to work, but relatives of each were there. Sandra's aunt and uncle, who have been in the press and talked to the press, you know, since day one, they've been really vocal. Sandra's grandparents were there, some friends of the family. On Melissa's side, we had her father, Brian Lawless, her aunt, Joni Hughes, her grandma, Connie Lawless, and some friends of the family.
Anybody make any statements afterward, Jennifer?
Afterwards, the family rushed out. The only person who really made a statement was a friend of Jano Cantu's, who was Sandra's estranged father, and the district attorney spokesman, Robert Hennelblau.
Okay. Nothing of note, though, really?
No, nothing.
Okay. Don, a lot of people, you see this, Melissa Huckabee's second appearance in court, yet still no plea. Why not?
Well, obviously they've got some really, really damaging evidence, in my opinion, Mike. And for the judge to agree to seal all of this information so it doesn't get out tells me that the prosecution side has really gathered a good amount of evidence. So I think they're really trying to sift through and decide what they're going to do and what the direction is going to be there. And that may be one reason why that this whole thing has been sealed.
Yeah. Jennifer, mentioned in this a great danger, I'm quoting here, of public outrage. That's from the judge. What's going on in the Tracy area? Are people that fired up about this case and what's going on here?
Well, yeah, it's a very emotional case to begin with, and what it's sounding like is that there's some evidence that could be really grisly, and it could shock people already more than they already are, and so it's hard to say. I know that the prosecutor mentioned 500 pages of typed evidence. He said they have some recordings, some audio recordings that they want to hand over tomorrow, and they need a month to review a lot of new evidence. So it sounds like they do have a lot.
Don, you hear that, and it bolsters what you're saying here. It sounds like the prosecution's got all they need, at least from what we're seeing, right?
Well, you know, from the prosecution perspective, Mike, we never think that we've got all that we need, but this evidence has to be so damaging here and so much in favor of the prosecution that's why they're sealing it, that's why they're keeping it together. But they're still going to work to get more, because as a prosecution, you can never have enough.
Pat, as we talk, and you hear Jennifer mention that this evidence could be so grisly that could really incite some public outrage, and then we see, again, Melissa Huckabee. Does it all fit to you, Pat, as a criminal profiler, that this lady is fully capable of just a grisly murder of an 8-year-old like this?
Oh, she's absolutely capable, and I think it was very interesting that the defense didn't want to go through with the exhumation, because when I first heard that they were going to do that, I thought, okay, they're questioning this rape charge. They're going to get that body back up, and they're going to see if it's really there, but apparently these details are so gruesome that there's not really any point to it, so I think it's going to be a little bit more horrific than any of us even expected. And is she capable of this? Absolutely. Yeah. And one more thing I wanted to point out, if this woman was not guilty of the crime, you would think she would be even more emotional this time. She's getting more and more upset that she's being charged with these horrific crimes, just outraged, horrified, but now she's changed gears and she's smiling, and I don't think I'd be doing that if I were being charged with something like this.
Yeah. So you're saying that the realization is settling in, and she's going to phase 2.
Right. Most people who are serial killers and serial predators, when they go to jail, it's interesting. They'll change their stories depending on what will work. They'll get along with the guards. They'll do whatever, appeals to them that they think is they're going to manipulate people. But people who didn't do the crime will simply continue on that straight line because the truth is the truth, and they're outraged and they're willing to fight. But psychopaths don't usually do that. They flip-flop around depending on what works.
Okay.
Mike,
Go ahead, Don.
I think the defense, real quickly, too, has seen something that really, really is disturbing. So for them to really agree at this point with the prosecution, that rarely happens so early in the game.
Yeah, and
there must be something really damaging.
And with the defense, Don, so you think, are they waiting till they know exactly what's out there, how grisly it is before the plea?
Absolutely, and I think they have a little taste of what's out there now because they joined with the prosecution to go through with this thing. Depending on what other evidence that they subsequently get, you might see some type of request for a plea deal or something of that nature. But if they put the death penalty on the table and it's that gruesome, you're just going to have to wait and see what the jury says.
Okay, gotcha. You guys are going to have to leave it there. Pat, Don, Jennifer, we appreciate it. Coming up, we're going to update